Okay, welcome everyone to what is going to be the final closure on the Salt City account. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a review on both the general and the specifics of the Greaterplayer run that we did since, what was it, November 24th, 2016. So what started out last year with much aplomb was, a very ambitious project that I made. The original goal was to create a complete, from start to finish, Greaterplayer run that could be fully reproducible by new players. Had tutorial levels in the beginning, slowly brought us in towards the mid game, bringing in those more complex combos and races. Finally, ending it with just a couple of classic combinations. Just some interesting weird things just to finish it off. But the main goal was to front load the whole run in terms of difficulty. All that stuff was put to the end. The front load was really straightforward and solid, so that we could get as many players working with it as possible. So let's just see real quick how Salt City did. And then after that, I just want to talk to you guys about the general Greaterplayer run and the benefits and why it should be pursued, even after this run has been done. But before I say that, can I please say thank you guys for sticking with it so long. It's been a really long journey with this one. Had to push through some pretty tough times. I've been sick like 3 or 4 times in the recordings. I've been having some problems with my recording stuff. I've been having problems with uploading. This kind of stuff doesn't really hit the front door because it's usually outside of the recording sessions. But occasionally they leaked in, and I just had to I had to upload because the game doesn't let me go back in time to re-record. So those things were kind of rough. But thank you guys for sticking with it for so long. For those of you that stayed, for those of you that have started or have continued or have even finished the Greaterplayer run, please let me know what you guys are up to in the comments. I would really like to do another Morg analysis video if there are enough comments talking to me about your online profile, where you're up to, that kind of stuff. If you've got any particular runs that you want to talk about, put in the comments and I'll do another Morg analysis video, because that's like kind of what I wanted this run to kind of generate. I wanted to generate the discussion, wanted to generate the following of people doing Greaterplayer runs. So what you should do if you want to follow, if you want me to do a full analysis, would be just post your profile link, any particular games that were really cool, or any particular games where you felt like they came out really close. Just tiniest little bits of optimization would have, sorry, a tiny like slip up would have killed you or something. Or it was really tense, you had no consumables left. Let me know. I'll look through all of them. I'll look through the ones that are like really good, and I'll go through a bunch of them, and it'll be a lot of fun. Like the Morg analysis videos have been really detailed. So I have been wanting to do that. So let's talk about Salt City for a bit now, and then we'll talk about general stuff after that. So Salt City started in 2016, ended in 2017. You can see that the wins were spread pretty consistently over the couple of months. I had 2 wins in November. Wow, five in December. And I kind of took a break. That was because of the holiday. So I had two in January. Wait, am I reading this wrong? Yeah, 2 in January, and then like roughly 3 or 4 each month, up until the end. So that's pretty close to what we were looking for. So overall, it took about, let's say, 9 months, roughly, give or take a couple of weeks, but 9 months to complete a Greaterplayer run. And this was not a really like super serious Greaterplayer run. We weren't like going for all this crazy stuff. We were just trying to show the basics off, and we were just doing it in a leisurely time. Absolutely leisurely. There was no rush to get things done. I just wanted to get as much of it done, in a reasonable time as possible, to show that it is really possible. I was uploading only 40 minutes of gameplay a day. If you play anything more than that, and I assume you will if you really like this game, I mean, I played outside of this account, so that's why, my 40 minutes didn't really count. But, if you were playing outside with only just one account, I'm sure that you'd be able to catch up just because I'm only playing at a very restricted pace. You can kind of catch up to me every day, even if you do have some setbacks. But yeah, overall, it was really good. 84 games played total, 27 wins, and a 32.14% win rate. Average score of 700,000, which is not that great considering that the average win gives you about 1.5 to 2 million points. Having said that, 84 games is not bad. Under 100 games. Under 100 games to get Greaterplayer. 27 wins. Obviously, for a first-time Greaterplayer and a first-time winner, it is a little bit unreasonable to expect those stats. But, it's not like I have particularly done a lot of, oh, we have to go do streaking stuff. I just played the way that I normally play. You can kind of tell because, like, 90% of my runs are, like, under 2 hours. But, I really just put under 3 hours, sorry. I just put, enough time in that it was reasonably quick and didn't put too much effort into doing all that, crazy stuff. There's no real reason to, at least for me. But yeah, so 84 games. Let's take a look at how they were broken down, in terms of just pure numbers. So the games played table here in crawlcrazy.org. Really helpful for me to do these kind of diagnostics. So Demigod Fire Elementalist had 5 deaths. I remember that series. That was painful as hell because a couple of those guys got really far. Demon Spawn, Wanderer, and Abyssal Knight. Interestingly, I lost with the Wanderer. Usually I don't do that, but I don't remember losing with the Wanderer, but it happened. Baraki Hunter, 3 deaths. Well, 2 deaths and a win. That was pretty unlucky. Hurt quite a lot to get. I think I died in like Zot or something. Ghoul Chaos Knight, yeah, look, if you haven't watched those videos, you really need to go watch those videos. I had absolutely no say in whether or not I was alive in those games. I was dead. Like, there was no chance of me surviving in any, respect. There was no chance. And when I say no chance, I mean literally 0% chance, as in nobody in the entire world could have avoided it because it was impossible. So, just go check that out. It's really funny. Halfling Arcane Marksman surprisingly dying twice. That's fine. I don't remember dying to them, but yeah, it happened. Human Wanderer, yeah, two deaths. Alright, fair enough. 3 Naga Venom Mages, that kind of makes sense. The Naga Venom Mage was pretty early in the run, and, I vaguely remember, like, dying a couple of times just because I was out of stuff, I think it was. But yeah, it's not too many in retrospect. Where we get a little worse is the Ogre line, with 5 deaths on Ogre, except that 4 of those 5 deaths, I believe, were in Zot 5. Something ridiculous like that. I died in Zot so many times on Ogre. It's not even funny. I died in the tournament, I died offline, I died in other accounts, I died on my random accounts, and I died here, all in Zot. So Ogres for me have like a 2% win rate in Zot. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I did some Ogre Mage stuff, so it's pretty interesting. Tengu Air Elementalist, that's definitely the biggest mistake of this run. 10 deaths, no reward. So, what I've learned from that is don't play Tengu. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Tengu is a horrible race. It's my least favorite, I'd say, out of all the races. Particularly because I can actually play Mummy Summoner now. Mummy's gone up in my eyes. But Tengu, gross. Vinestalker Transmuter, definitely another one that was really pushing me. The low HP of Vinestalker was just, it wasn't fun at all. That was really rough. So, the two main, like, Greaterplayer run thing killers in this one, was Tengu and Vinestalker for sure. Without those 2 games, I'd have, 60 something games, and my win rate would skyrocket to like 50% or something like that. So it's pretty insane. Yeah, so overall, the Greaterplayer run was like mostly spread out. Well, it has to be, but it was spread out over a good amount of time, spread out with a good amount of combo variety, obviously. Decent stuff. We'll talk about the other stuff now, the order and such, and how it's changed over time. Minotaur Fighter, Gargoyle, Gladiator, Hero, Berserker. I'm just going to do a quick run through the whole run, I think, just to kind of explain to you how the mechanics of the Greaterplayer run was supposed to work and how it ended up turning out at the end of the day. So Minotaur Fighter, Gargoyle, Gladiator, and Hero, Berserker are 3 completely interchangeable melee race class combinations. You can actually do any of the 3 with any of the other 3, and it completely works. Minotaur, Berserker, Gargoyle, Berserker, Hero, Berserker, Hero Fighter, Gargoyle Fighter, Minotaur Fighter, all of them work like beautifully. It's fine. Like those three are the top tier like melee guys. You're not gonna have any issues with them at all. But the whole point of it was to make sure that the first start of the run was really flexible and really easy to follow. Minotaur Fighter or Minotaur Melee is super basic as your first win. Hillock is also super basic as your first win. Gargoyle, super basic as the first win. You know, these kind of races, these kind of classes are great starts for your first game. Because they teach you so much. But they handhold you to some degree. They allow you to, you know, control the environment a lot stronger, a lot better, because you have so much more strength in your race. You know, Gargoyle with that really beefy armor and beautiful resistance slot. The Hillock has just, you know, great aptitudes, high health. Minotaur is exactly the same as Hillock with a little bit less of an aptitude for axes, but they come with horns, which makes the early game an absolute breeze. Right? Those three classes just really let you dive into the strategy, the tactics, rather than worrying too much about, oh my god, I have to deal with X gimmick in my game plan, and now I'm gonna have to deal with that the whole game. Say, for example, like a Naga. You know, I don't have to worry about that. I can just focus on being a melee character, focus on getting a heavy armor, heavy weapon, and just beating through the game. You know, it's very straightforward. But, you know, at the same time, there is a little bit of room for flexibility as well. Minotaur Berserker, Gargoyle Gladiator, Minotaur Fighter, Gargoyle Gladiator, and Hillock Berserker were the three I chose, just because I want to do a little bit different from the, you know, classic Minotaur Berserker start. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's still the same thing, really. Minotaur Fighter of Aquara, very basic, very straightforward. Teaches you a lot about god usage, and just melee positioning in general. You know, axes from Minotaur, Hillock, really good. You know, you get to learn the axes kind of cover your positional mistakes a little bit by letting you cleave. Gargoyle Gladiator lets you use a different weapon, maybe a mace or something. I think in that run I actually use a mace. Yeah, Morningstar. So I do run a different setup for the Gargoyle, just so it gives me a little bit of variety. But the key thing about the three melee start, I guess the package of melee is that it allows you to get those 3 wins relatively quickly. Those wins, your first win, your second win, your third win, are supposed to come really quick, like bam, bam, bam. Because those 3 are really basic, really straightforward, and they play almost exactly the same. That way you can learn what you need to do to win the game. So that was the intention of the top 3, just bam, hit them up like that. The top three runs are just supposed to be like rapid succession wins. And to some degree, it actually worked a hell of a lot better than I expected. A lot of people were like, oh, I got my first win, and then a day later I got my second and third win. I was like, that's exactly what I was aiming for. Well done. But it was just it's super basic. It's a strategy that I employed ever since I actually started playing. I developed this theory over a very long period of time. So I started playing in about like 2012, 2013. So it's been about 5 years now. But wow, it's actually been a long time since I've started playing. But it's been about 5 years. I started playing when I was an absolute baby. But when I got my first win, I was like, oh great, I'm never going to be able to win again. The next couple of days I won again and again. And, you know, with Bob the Cannibal, with Mega Slime, those guys are actually from the generation that I raised, kind of. Like, I raised these guys in the game. I taught them how to play. I taught them how to do all this stuff. And I applied my own theories to them, and now I'm applying them to you guys. But that's the theory that I came up with, the whole, like, rapid succession improvement style that lets you really rattle off a couple of wins, give you that confidence, give you that momentum, give you the ability to, you know what you need to win and how to grab the ore. You know, that kind of stuff is really important for me, at least as one of my theories on how to improve players the best in the shortest amount of time. Just getting that first win, but you need to rattle on the second and third win really quick. And it's not like you have to, but I'm saying it will really improve you. You'll find that a lot of players that pick up the game, win, and then win and then like just drop off the face of the earth. When they come back, they don't have that same mindset. They don't have that same skill. They're like, how do I win again? I don't remember. But, you know, by doing this really quick, intensive burst of like games, you can improve really quick. You know a significant amount about the 3-win game after you do these 3 wins. And after those 3 wins, I've moved on to the mage build. And this was actually a very big stumbling point for a lot of players. The debuff Conjurer is now outdated, by the way. Conjurer, ever since the start of the run, has actually been changed. Sorry, ever since I did Conjurer, it got changed. So that now Conjurer no longer has the battle sphere in the book, which makes a lot of the book a lot like much weaker. It's just much weaker. Uh, and that's not even really my opinion. It's actually the fact that Battlesphere was the bread and butter of that book. The Magic Dart Battlesphere combo was really core to the identity of that class. You really didn't get away from it, and replacing it with Force Lance was just kind of a joke, really. It's a practical joke. You use Force Lance to push small children into pools, but you don't really use it to kill things. It's unnecessary. Um, It reminds me of a time when I was doing an exam in law, and the question was actually the guy killed another man by hitting him on the head with a pool noodle and dunking him to the pool. That's kind of how Force Lance works. It's about as effective as the pool noodle. So, it can kill, but, you really don't expect it to. Is it really a lethal weapon? No. So yeah, debuff Conjure is being changed. I now would like to formally recommend that you do a Fire Elementalist instead, which provides you much of the same stuff, but with a bit more efficiency now, a bit better AOE, and just a really great starting book. But Conjurer in general has been, defunct to some degree. It's been removed, kind of. Also, I would also like to say at this point, Deep Elf can be replaced with Draconian if you wish. Draconian being, my go-to secondary mage other than Deep Elf. Deep Elf comes with a lot better mana and magic and all that crap, but Draconians have extra health and armor, so it's a toss up between the two. I recommend Deep Elf because it teaches you the really important lesson of being a mana tank and keeping your distance, whereas Draconian kind of pulls you back into that melee style. You find a lot of people that go Draconian Mage will end up picking up a weapon at some point and being like, whatever. I have like extra health and extra armor. I can just fight stuff. Like, I'm just as good as a real Draconian. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do prefer the classic pure mage build of the Deep Elf for illustrative purposes. So I picked that first. You'll see later on I do Draconian, but that's fine. Also, this run I decided to go the 15 rune route. So I chose that because I thought that players really do want to do 15 rune run. It's an absolute to people like me, to people who are experienced, it's a bit of a trap because it's tedious, it's grindy, it takes longer, and you have a good chance of dying in a lot of places. But for a new player, it's like that. It's that pinnacle of the game. You know what I mean? I need to explore the whole game, and I understand that. That's why I put the 15 rune run so far up in advance. I wanted to get people to experience the full game, the 3 rune game, a couple of times before they moved on to the mage, the 15 rune. Sorry, I just wanted to have that progression, that sense of progression, without having to just jump in for your first 15 rune. I especially don't want people to start and then be like, I need to win my first game as a 15 rune. Look, honestly, it's not impressive. No one cares. It doesn't impress anyone. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. It sounds harsh, but nobody cares if you do a 15 rune first. Like, it doesn't mean anything to anyone. Like, we've done 15 runes. It's done. It's dead. Alright? Like, in the community, it's dead. You're not more skilled than anyone else for doing a 15 rune first. You just died more times. You know what I mean? It's not. Just don't worry about it. But that's just my hatred of 15 runes because, like I said, it's tedious, dangerous, painful. Tomb got reworked. Gross. Now I would actually not really recommend doing a 15 rune. I would suggest just doubling up on a Minotaur, going the Shining one, and then doing the 15 rune because Tomb is kind of hard. Unless you get Lich Form or something crazy like that, but it is a little bit more difficult than it was when I initially did the 15 runes. It's a little bit, iffy on whether or not you could do it with the Deep Elf Conjurer. That's fine. So at this point, we've really hit that big hurdle. A lot of people dropped out at this point in the run because magic is hard, magic is tedious, magic is difficult. Playing a mage is hard. I understand that. A couple of people persevered, a couple of people didn't. It was a bit unfortunate that this was the stopgap, I guess, because once you play the Deep Elf Conjurer, you'll realize, like, once you try enough to get there, you'll realize that it's really not that much more difficult. It requires you to be a little bit more optimal with your movement, a little bit more optimal with your resource management, but overall, It's a deep elf conjurer. It's pretty straightforward, but I understand that people actually did get discouraged from this one. It was a pretty rough run. A couple of people like Blue just straight up skipped it, and I was like, I guess. Not great. You know what I mean? It's not amazing. But yeah, I really do suggest trying a Deep Elf Fire Elementalist or Draconian Fire Elementalist after this, if you haven't done so already, just to kind of get a feel for it. I feel like that once you get the Deep Elf Conjurer or whatever done, other mages become much more accessible. You start to understand the mage. It makes a little bit more sense. I then moved on to Centaur Hunter, Troll Monk, and Spriggan Enchanter. These three are like just the basic, classic, interesting combos. You know, Spriggan Enchanter is the stabber, Troll Monk is, you know, troll, Centaur Hunter is the range guy. I just wanted to develop a variety of playstyles. The stabber, the unarmed combat guy, and the range guy. You know, all at once, sort of. You can kind of skip between 5 and 7. You can kind of interchange them. But I just wanted to, you know, give a little bit of variety to the game, providing a little bit more oomph to it. You know, because you played melee, you played the mage, and you're like, oh, is that all there is? No, there's more. There's a couple more playstyles you can play. They're all different. But I chose those three because I just wanted to kind of just throw it out there. Give a bit of interest, a bit of pizzazz to the run at that stage in the game, and you know it was pretty good. A lot of people really did like that Centaur Hunter, the Troll Monk, Spriggan Enchanter. The Spriggan Enchanter was particularly pretty interesting. I actually have a guide for it now, Stabber's Guide, very useful. So I suggest you go take a look at that if you haven't already. But yeah, those three were like the variety out that I chucked in after the Deep Elf Conjurer, just to give that game a little bit more oomph to it, you know. Just give the run, you know, just that variety early on. Because a lot of players, new players, will want to do the classic combo. And I really wanted to hammer that in. I wanted to show you guys that it's absolutely possible for you to do every single classic combo you want, and then continue to do the Greaterplayer run. It's still fine. The Demon Spawn Abyssal Knight was a little bit of an interesting juncture at that point. Previously, the only other Zealot you played was the Berserker, but you know, Lagonu is a very interesting god. It is a bit of a rough one, I think, for new players, but I tried to illustrate that abyssing stuff is really overpowered, and you should be doing it very frequently. So once that was done, it should have been okay. It's just a straight melee. I don't even remember what this character was. Yeah, it was a Demon Whip of Electrocution, but it was straight melee. It's pretty straightforward. The Naga Venom Mage, the Demigod Fire Elementalist, was, I think, where a lot of people got a little bit miffed, I guess, by the run, because it started to get kind of hard. But what I was doing here was kind of setting up the mage, like I was trying to smooth out the mage difficulty over the rest of the run. Book starts take up a shitload of the Greaterplayer run, almost like 30% of it, because there are so many damn book starts. And I really wanted to get those book starts done earlier on, rather than later on, because they're just a pain in the ass, honestly. So the Naga Venom Mage was probably not a great thing to put this early. I'd probably put it later on in the run if I were doing it again. But again, I wanted to smooth the difficulty out a little bit with the run. I initially said, okay, we're going to go all in on easy early and then all in on hard late. But then I realized it's a little bit unreasonable to do that for new players, because you're going to end up with this impossible to climb wall after the Greaterplayer, after like that middle mark, where you're just playing like insanely difficult combos every single time. You're just like, oh god, just kill me. So I put in the demon, I put in Naga, I put in Demigod. These are like the tanky mages. Excuse me. I think that the Venom Mage got with buff to Poison Vapors and Olgrebs. It is a pretty good combo. It's honestly a pretty good combo. It was a bit rough for me, you know, because Venom Mage does have its weaknesses. But honestly, like, I'm serious. I think that Venom Mage is overlooked by a lot of people, and it's actually not a bad start. Especially if you have a weapon, especially if you have like something just to tide you over against undead, which you can easily deal with as a Naga or, you know, some other high health race. The Demigod Fire Elementalist was very similar. I would put a Draconian here if I was a lot less confident with the Mage. Having said that, the Demigod still took a crap load of time to do, but, you know, that's Demigod for you. You can put it at the end, but again, who wants to do the last 5 runs when the last 5 runs are just impossibly hard to do, right? It's just a pain in the ass. I wouldn't want to do it. You know what I mean? So I put Demigod Fire Elementalist in the middle. Fire Elementalist I could probably put up there. Now I'd put it with Demigod Conjurer somewhere later down the line. But yeah, this is like the struggle area. This is where you're kind of seeing that, the run's not going to be as easy as you thought. So at that point, I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah, how long? Okay, 25 minutes, alright. So at that point, I'm like, fine, okay. Let's smooth it out a little bit. Deep Dwarf Necromancer. Very straightforward race. Go into McLeb. Very easy. Transition to melee. You can go Necromancy for the very first part of the game. Pick up an axe at some point. Pick up McLeb at some point, and then just smooth sail your melee transition. It's just a little bit of an interesting look at book starts that go into melee. I just wanted to kind of put that in there at that point. First of all, to ease the problem, ease the tension of the run. Having the 9 and 10 run being that difficult, and then having a Deep Dwarf Necromancer is just a little bit of, just a little bit of a nice, band-aid solution. But it also gives you that, look into, I can actually transition into melee from a mage book. That's insane. From a mage start. I just wanted to have that little bit of ease into it, kind of idea. Deep Dwarf again being Deep Dwarf, it's just overpowered straight up. It's really good. So yeah, I just put that in the middle just to kind of ease the tension. Then I went to Tengu Elementalist. That's again the biggest regret I had. Again, I was thinking like, oh god, I have to do more book starts. I just don't want any more book starts. But I ended up dying a shitload with the Tengu, and then I was like, oh screw it, I'll just go Draconian. Draconian Air Elementalist, one shot it was easy. It was so straightforward. Draconian is like such a good mage class. Simply because of the health. Like, it's just so tanky. It's just so usable. So very, very nice. So Draconian, you can switch out with any Deep Elf or Demigod in terms of this run, so just feel free to do whatever. But I like the Air Elementalist there because Air Elementalist is kind of a garbage book start. It's not that great. But Draconian is a strong enough mage class that you can kind of keep it going. Merfolk Scald after that, just very basic, straightforward melee. Gives you a chance to hybridize if you really feel like it. I don't know if I actually did hybridize, but doesn't look like it given that I have crystal plate armor on. But you could theoretically do a fire dragon armor or swamp dragon armor run on this run. Quite fitting that the midway run is a hybrid run. But yeah, it depends on how you want to do. Halfling Arcane Marksman, I wanted the kind of addendum to Centaur Hunter. You have another really good range class doing really good range class stuff. Sling's really good in the early game. Very basic, straightforward game. Again, you can kind of see here my my hesitation to do the hard stuff within these three games, because we went through a pretty hard grind at that point. But yeah, Halfling Arcane Marksman, followed by Human Wanderer, which is honestly not that difficult. Human Wanderer is just like whatever. It's the classic Wanderer, right? Human is so flexible that Wanderer is definitely going to work with anything you throw at it. The human can use. So it's pretty good. It's not the worst thing you can use. And I decided it just because human is like kind of a crap class, and you might as well check it with Wanderer because there's no real playstyle you want to go through with one human anyway. I didn't feel it Artificer. That was kind of just because Artificer is a pretty good start for Feel It because the wands are really good at keeping you alive. And I also again wanted to kind of pump the difficulty back up. It was a little bit. We were starting to get into the point where we were just doing all melee stuff, and it was like, okay, that's fine, but what the hell's going to happen in the rest of the run? You know what I mean? I didn't want to blow up everything, so I went back to Feel It, did a Feel It. That was pretty straightforward. Your red carries Feel It pretty hard. Yeah, that was pretty straightforward, I think. The Ghoul Chaos Knight then was the horror run, but like I said, Ghoul and Chaos Knight's fine. It's not bad. Ghoul is just a strong race, a really strong race. A little bit less so now that it got nerfed, so that it doesn't regen anymore. Sorry, it doesn't regen inside combat anymore. You have to actually eat chunks to regen. It makes the early game a lot worse, and Chaos Knight does make it worse as well. But once you get past that point, Ghoul is durable enough to kind of take all the zombie bullshit and then just not worry about it too much. You can shrug it off. Doesn't need to worry about weapon RNG because it's got claws. That kind of stuff is really just what makes Ghoul Chaos Knight one of my top picks. I would have picked Troll, but Troll was already done with the Monk, so I just kind of picked Ghoul. Vampire Enchanter, just another stabber. I just wanted to throw another stabber in there. I doubled up on Vampire because, I don't know, Stabber is a really unique playstyle, and I just wanted to have a second one. And also Vampire kind of didn't have anything at that point that it wanted to do. So Vampire is a really straightforward run as well. Formicid Warper, just another basic melee. Vinestalker Transmuter was, again, one of the mistakes, I'd say, kind of. Vinestalker low health makes it really rough for you to fight stuff, I guess. Transmutations was okay, I guess. But I'd probably rescinded. I probably like kind of gone back on my thought process now. I think that training for a form early on is still not the best idea, like super early on. But I think that I started to train transmutations a little bit earlier, like maybe as early as D7, and I got a bit better results. D6, I'd say, compared to the layer 2 that I normally do. I think like getting transmutations up by like about D6 is a good idea. So, that kind of taught me a couple of things, but Vinestalker was just rough. I died a couple of times with that. That was really painful. Octopode Wizard again, I just needed to do some of the harder races. Octopode Field, Mummy were the three like big ones that I needed to get rid of. Keep in mind at some point here I did Ogre and I just died. That's fine. Octopode Wizard, that was just because Wizard is pretty decent for an Octopode as a caster. Just pick caster. It's pretty straightforward, really. Apart from the bullshit that Octopode is, everything went reasonably smoothly. Oh wait, no, I was melee. Never mind. Yeah, I had the Autumn Katana. That's right. I didn't even bother with using spells. I think. Oh, I used spells, but like the Katana was bae. You know what I mean? Like all the other stuff was just icing on the cake. The Katana was sick, so I used that instead. But most Octopodes will also get away with just Orbital Destruction spam, so you're fine in that regard. Tengu Ice Elementalist, I just kind of chucked in there. Tengu's again my least favorite race out of all things. It wasn't great, but it happened. I think this character actually got Ignition, so it ended up being pretty fun. But yeah, Tengu early game is just horrible. I actually think that Ice Elementals might be their best one. You can get the summoning start with Ice Beasts. You can kind of use the insane Conjurations aptitude on Throw Icicle. And summoning for Ice Beast. You can use Freeze pretty effectively. You don't have to worry about that bullshit RNG of missing stuff. Ice Elementals tends to be very mana efficient, so Tengu with a garbage mana, kind of gets an advantage. It's pretty good. It's alright. Brachyhunter was just kind of for the memes. We already did that. That's just kind of there. Octopode Transmuter was a mistake. I already did Octopode and Transmuter like next to each other, like right there. Yeah, so that was kind of a mistake. I didn't realize, but I did a Che run. Then Ogre Earth Elementalist kind of got it done. That took ages as well. That was like so painful for me. Ogre died so many times. Then Mummy was done. That one we just saw, and then Kobold was just to finish it off. Kobold being just very basic, just random, whatever, who cares. The Mummy Summoner I will just talk about quickly. I actually think that Summoner is, for Mummy, Summoner is like really the best class possible. It's really good. It's actually a lot better than you'd expect. You don't have to worry about a lot of things with Mummy Summoner at all. I'm serious. Like, I think that Mummy Summoner actually is pretty decent as far as like general strength goes. Mummy is of course garbage, but Summoner really just makes Mummy shine, and Mummy actually has parts of it that makes Summoner shine to some degree. Like the Mana Hunger I'm thinking of especially. Very, very potent when you're just spamming high level spells with whatever you want. You don't have to do anything. And Gozag just makes that trinity really complete. Really just solidifies that plan of just, I can just bribe my way through Zot. I don't have to worry about resist fire. I just need one pip of fire resistance the whole game. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I just bribe everything. It's fine. I don't have to fight all this fire at all. It's just such a great synergistic combo. I really enjoy it. So, I never thought I'd say that about Mummy, but Mummy Summoner, very doable. It only took me 2 runs. The first one was pretty much already won. The second one pretty much won instantly. Both 3-hour games for a mage, especially for a summoner. That's really good. So you can kind of tell that it's kind of telling as to how good that combo is compared to other stuff. Streaks, yeah, who cares? Like I got a couple of basic streaks, but they're not that important. The point of the run was not to streak anyway. The point of the run was just to complete it, get it done. There is no real shame in having a 1% win rate and being a Greaterplayer. That's fine. At the same time, there's no real pride in being a 32% win rate Greaterplayer when you've already done Greaterplayer multiple times. So yeah, just not that. It's fine. In terms of god variety, I would say that, it was a pretty limited god selection. You saw a lot of your red, saw some Ashinzari, saw Trog, Okawaru, Gozag, a couple of random ones, Sif and Vehumit. I did a Che god and a Hep god. Che and Hep, just at the end, just kind of spice up the run. But overall, the point that I was trying to make to illustrate with this 27 run is that you really don't need to know all the mechanics of the game to do a great player run. You can really knuckle down on the gods that you know are really good and just don't worry about the rest. I didn't do I didn't do a game of Fedass. I didn't do a Kiku game. I didn't do Elivalon, the Shining One, Zin. I didn't do Quaslal. I didn't do those gods because, honestly, they're not that good. They're honestly just subpar. Sorry, Kiku is not subpar. He's just complex. Kind of a pain in the ass to use, honestly. But all the other gods just not that good. I just picked the ones that were strong. I wanted to remember, you have to remember, guys, I wanted to make this series really reproducible. I didn't want to do it in a way that, had to be like, oh, just pick this god at this time and pick this god at that time. Like, whatever. Just use the gods that you think are good. Don't use the gods that are like, the memes. Don't do it for the memes. Do it for you. Win the game consistently and convincingly. And when you do that, you'll learn that there are a lot of other things that you need to improve on, and you'll improve on them, but you'll also have a win under your belt, rather than having something like Quaslal be like, oops, rather than having, god damn it, I'm doing it again. I'm gonna put my mouse down. I just picked it up for some reason, but yeah, it. Don't pick a god like Quaslal and then die and be like, I have no idea why I died. Oh, it's the noise. I guess I'll just play Quaslal again. Like, you don't have to learn about that bullshit. Oh, I did a Kiku game. I didn't do a Nemlex game. That's right. I didn't do a bit. No. Oh wait, this is Demise. Never mind. Lol. Didn't do a Kiku game. I'm right. I switched. I didn't even realize. Anyway, yeah. So that about wraps it up for the I guess overall analysis of Salt City. With that in mind, we're gonna close the book on Salt City. We're not gonna close the page because then I'll have nothing of God. But yeah, there's really a lot to say about Salt City that could be said, but I think that it'll best be done for discussion. If you guys were to be so kind as to post your comments, don't be ashamed of your run. Don't be ashamed of your progress. I want to know the progress because I want to help you guys eventually hit Greaterplayer. I have not heard of a person yet who has done a Greaterplayer run under this system. So I'd really like to see if anyone has actually been able to complete one, because it'd be really interesting to see. Having said that, let's talk about the Greaterplayer run generally. So, why did I do this, and what's the point? Kind of. I want to answer those questions. So, why do I do this? The Greaterplayer run. Well, first of all, the Greaterplayer run is, at least by definition, going to give you the greatest experience in the game, in terms of the fullest experience that you can possibly have by having every single combo done. Every single combination of race and class. You will eventually have to have variety in your gameplay. If you have not varied at all from your playstyle, you really didn't do a Greaterplayer run, honestly. You need to have some variety in your run. It teaches you how to play mage, teaches you how to play melee, teaches you how to play range. That kind of stuff is really the core idea of the Greaterplayer run that I want to point out. The Greaterplayer run is variety. It's going to give you the most bang for your buck in terms of time. You're going to be doing something different every single day, every single game. You're doing something else different because you don't have a choice. You have to play with every single race and every single class. So every single win will be, at least to some degree, different. Whether it be because you had to deal with certain race quirks, whether it had to be you picked a different god, whether you had completely different equipment that changed the way that you had to play the game. You will have to do something at that point. I am in the middle of doing a meme run where I get Greaterplayer by doing all Minotaur and all Berserker, and then being Greater Minotaur and Greater Berserker. So Greater Minotaur Berserker, and thus achieving Greaterplayer. But again, that's really not indicative of how you should be playing the game. It's a meme run just to kind of take the piss out of the whole system. But the reality here is that the run is supposed to be a learning experience. It teaches you a lot about the game. by being a greater player, you really do learn a hell of a lot about this game. You learn a lot of mechanics, you learn a lot of varieties of stuff, and you generally learn the sense of how to win. 27 games minimum. No, 26 games minimum. That's a lot of games. You have to win 26 games to get this run done. So, you will have at least some variety in your run, I hope. And you'll just generally benefit by learning how to play the game and learning how to win. Another advantage that I think the Greaterplayer run gives is direction to the player. A lot of players that play this game and stay kind of like wishing they were good, but they're not really. The reason why that doesn't happen, why they don't improve, is because they don't have direction. They don't know where to go, how to do it, how to improve. It's kind of like going and lose weight, doing exercise, that kind of stuff. People kind of know how to do it. You grab the orb at some point, you pick up 3 runes, I don't know. But they never really get a constructive way of doing it. And that's what I kind of wanted, I wanted to show people the path to getting greater player. That was the goal the whole time, that I had the whole time. So I'm flubbing a lot of words. It's fine though. And for me even, it was a motivational thing as well. Having a goal, having a direction stops you from being burnt out quite as much. I admit at the very end of the run, I definitely lost sight of the goal, but that's not really, that's kind of because this has been like a lot of greater, this is not my first greater player run, this is multiple greater player runs in, and I was already struggling with other stuff, so I was like trying to handle all that shit and then trying to do this channel at the same time. It's absolutely untenable. I couldn't do it. Yeah, like, having that greater player, that achievement, that sense of achievement at the end of the thing at the end of the run is the ultimate win. It's like the joy you feel when you win a game times 10 because you know that you won a full set of games, making you an elite player, really. Being a greater player puts you in that really elite club. You're very high up in the percentile if you can get a greater player run going. It gives you just that I guess internet cred that people are looking for all the time. I'm a greater player in this game. People don't know what that means, but you can explain to them really, quite obsessively, really, which I have done multiple times to explain to them what it is, and they're like, "Oh, cool." And that vague sense of, I don't give a shit, but I guess you're cool. Like, I don't know. That's the shit I live for. You know what I mean? That's the shit you need to live for. Like, if you don't live for that, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? No. Look, it's good fun. It's really just good fun. It does a lot of stuff for you. So I hope that you guys do complete this run. I honestly would like to see the greater player run class, the greater player list of players expand over time. I think that'd be great. Yeah, I really do think I'm a firm believer in, educating and improving the knowledge of the entire player base as a whole, because I really think that it creates really interesting discussions. It promotes the game. It creates a passion for the community, that kind of thing. These are all very strong principles that this channel has been built on over a long time, but I don't really talk about it very often because, there's very limited opportunity, I suppose, to kind of say these things when you're kind of like half memeing and half teaching when you're doing the playthrough. So it's kind of hard to slow down and just talk really, really calmly about the situation and how everything's going. But that is at the end of the day the principle behind the channel. And I think I did. Look, I'm just ranting about myself now, but I did lose sight of that. I did have like an internal crisis with that. I haven't quite come to terms with it. So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to be doing this channel from now on. It's very hard for me to, maintain that community aspect when, at least to me, it feels like the community is silent. But that's not really your fault. That's no one's fault. It's simply because my content isn't engaging enough, I suppose. Which is why I've been trying to engage more with the content, to varying degrees. It's an experiment. It's really an experiment. And I think it'll come with time. So, I've ranted for about 50 minutes about, the greater player run, its successes and its downfall, its advantages, and my own channel's downfalls, disadvantages. But like I said, guys, at the end of the day, I really hope that you guys have stuck with it. For those of you that actually attempted it first run, thank you guys very much for trying. You did really well to get your first wins and stuff. It was really good for you guys. Because every single day after that, I posted that Mental Vita series, people were flooding my inboxes with Discord and stuff, being like, oh dude, I won my first game. Oh dude, I won my second game. Oh shit, dude, this is like the first time I've ever streaked a game. I'm like, that's freaking awesome, man. You guys actually have, like, my own video has called many people to action. And it's very impressive. That's very heartening to hear. And for those of you that stuck through it, because, you know, like I said, I understand totally if you don't do the Greaterplayer run, and it's not for you, or you felt like it's too hard. I can't go to every single person in the community and say like, oh, you should do the Greaterplayer run because of this specifically, and address everyone's problem, because people don't care enough to talk to me about it. That's fair. I understand that. Like, that's just a conversation between internet strangers. But if I could, I would talk to every single person that gave up. I would try to get them to go again, and I would just I would sit through them with them and go through every single play if I could. I did that with Blue. I actually did that with Blue. You can see it in the co-op tutorial. I went through every single play with them, with extremely detailed, just so that I could have someone else continuing the run. That's simply the goal at the end of the day. So, you know, if you have done the Greaterplayer run, if you've given up, try again. Maybe have a go. If you are in progress, you're having difficulty, post a link in the description. I will be doing a Morgan analysis video on every single comment that gets put in this video. Every single comment that has a profile link, I will be looking at. I'll answer any questions you have. I'll be analyzing all the stuff. I understand that's a big undertaking if a lot of people do it. That's fine. I'm willing to do it. Just leave a link. I'll look at it. It'll be a lot of fun. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you've had a wonderful day. Because honestly, I'm starting to have a good day. I got a new watch. A limited edition watch. Seiko Presage. I think it's called SRP 387J. If you guys are interested. It's a beautiful watch, and I've been staring at it for the last couple of hours. And it's a lot of fun, and I'm going to a boutique later, which is a watch store, to see if I can fix the damn strap, because it came off instantly. I have really bad luck with consumer products. Every single channel story is me fucking up something that I immediately after I buy it, or it coming dead on arrival. It's so unfortunate. But anyway, it's been a great day, so I'm hoping to get more good karma. Even though I was a bit unlucky, that's fine. I accept that. But, you know, hope you had a wonderful day, and I'll see you all tomorrow.